This is PJNET.TV, and this is my perspective and comments. In this video segment of My Perspective and Comments, we cover politics, society here and abroad, and the events of the day that are shaping our nation. PJNET.TV, My Perspective and Comment, coming to you with a worldview, one nation under God. Hello and welcome to My Perspective and Comments. And I'm going to start out right now with a bit of some COVID news and what's been taking place. And I just wanted to let you know that what I'll be talking about is what's been going on in Israel and what we're starting to see, these studies that are coming out now, talking about efficacy and talking about what's been going on in Israel and what's been going on in our country regarding these vaccines. And also we'll talk a bit about the FDA and the announcement that they made this past week, and really what was that all about, and where are we? Where is the state of what's going on with COVID, and how we're going to continue to move forward as a country and globally? And we're going to get into some in depth. But folks, I forgot. I'm on the You Censor Tube channel right now. And the censor tube doesn't like anyone talking about COVID other than their approved, authoritative, deemed the right people to that we need to line up our narrative to. But if it comes to about any other reports other than their approved talking points, censor tube wants to do a banning or shut you up. So when it comes to free speech and bringing information to you, censor tube isn't the place to do it. I can't do it here. So I will be giving an update. I'm not sure if we will have this Friday, but before the weekend's out, we will definitely get that to you, and we'll put it in our chat room. And there is a lot going on around COVID-19. But again, censor tube does... they're not free speech at this point. They want to quelch anything that they don't deem worthy to be discussed as a free people, and we'll go to a free speech video platform that we can share openly and freely. What I'd like to talk about now is some New York news. And as I told you before, a couple of weeks now, a shocker in New York, this past week now, it's ex-governor Andrew Cuomo stepped down with all the things that were building up with sexual harassment and intimidating women and bordering, in fact, it was on criminality as these allegations have come forth. And even a state trooper had some issues with Andrew Cuomo. That probably was the deciding, he's got to go, because now what are we going to do? Down talk and besmirch our state trooper female? So Andy stepped down, and the lieutenant governor took over. She is now the governor in New York, Governor Kathy Hochul. And as I mentioned before, she's from the upstate New York area, the Buffalo, Erie County area. And I believe we'll see a slightly, maybe more than slightly, but she will definitely govern more, inching, I would say, to the middle. But again, she's in a state, she knows what she is facing, and I don't think she's going to drift too far from Andy Cuomo. The one big difference you'll see is that Andy Cuomo was on a race against California in seeing how fast and how far left he could go to outdo California. I don't believe that Kathy Hochul will be in that camp. What Kathy Hochul has done, and I'm sure that she's talking about transparency and getting all the information out. Well, now we find out that Andrew Cuomo covered up how many patients in nursing homes died. The number, you may ask, that the discrepancy, over 12,000 was excluded. How convenient for Andy Cuomo. Now the total is 55,000 people in this Democratic-run state died from COVID. And folks, I guarantee that 12,000 more, you might want to double that at least with those that perished in these nursing homes, these COVID-filled the people that had come in, and there were no protections. The very people that should have been protected were not under Andy Cuomo, basically forcing these facilities to take COVID-infected patients back into the nursing home. So we see now that 12,000, but I guarantee you might want to double that. And I mentioned that here on PJNET.TV, my perspective, I would say maybe 7 months ago or more, regarding Andy Cuomo seeding these nursing homes with COVID. So right now we see more information coming out now. Andy's gone. He can't do the cover-up gig here now. Things are becoming out in the open, and now we're starting to get more information regarding of what took place there in New York. Gloria Romano, a former Democratic leader in the California State Senate, this past week has endorsed Republican gubernatorial candidate Larry Elder. She did that on this past Monday. So now we're starting to see, the race right now is neck and neck, and that really bodes well for Larry Elder becoming in this race as a Republican in this very, 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 very blue state, and he's holding his own. Her endorsement comes as polls are showing this race right now as a toss-up. And Gavin Newsom, I think, is in a bit of trouble. And I think we may see a shocker there in California, where the election will be taking place there September 14th. This recall election. So we may see a Governor Elder that will be there at the State House there in California, and definitely it will be a positive change. And he's already talking about how he would be governing, like no masks mandates and opening the schools up, and none of that the tyranny that these schools are trying to force down parents and forcing our kids to be masked up and the problem of breathing, choking them off, essentially. And that's what's happening when you mask up these kids all day long in school. It's insanity, especially for this population, this group that aren't, for the most part, and the studies are showing that they're not as affected as drastically, but they're being, these mask mandates are being forced in many school districts, and there has been a big debate. Parents are going into these school board meetings and they're talking about COVID, they're talking about critical race theory, they're talking about these teachers who have said, we're just going to ignore what the parents have to say regarding these issues like critical race theory. We're going to teach it anyway. So this is what's been happening in our school system as of late, and in California there may be a ray of light there as Larry Elder is elected governor there in California, September 14th. On this past Tuesday, the Supreme Court gave the state of Texas a huge victory, ruling that against the Biden administration, and the Supreme Court says you've got to reinstate what President Trump had going when it comes to the immigration policy, and it was called the Migrant Protection Protocols, MPP policy. Also known as, and you're probably all familiar with this, Remain in Mexico policy. And the Supreme Court judge has ruled that Biden needs to reinstate that policy. Janice Dean has been in the news, and she's been a stalwart against Andrew Cuomo and what took place for her mother and father-in-law in the nursing home, and she's been outspoken. Well, she had something to say about all the celebrities that have been fawning on Andrew Cuomo. What a job he did! He was in the top of his game when it comes to COVID and what he did in New York. Only now to find out what really happened. And Janice would like to get an apology for all the women in this state that have lost loved ones from these celebrities who were fawning all over Andrew Cuomo. We'll see if there's any apologies to go out to the New Yorkers who lost loved ones because of the failure of the former governor. I'd like to talk, and you've been hearing all week, a lot of talk about incompetence, a lot of talk about he's just not up for the job. Does he even know what day it is? Does he even know what his generals are saying regarding, is he the one that has told the governors that they need to stand down and just let things play out the way that they played out? Because it sure sounded like the generals were lost in space somewhere, or they were given orders by the commander-in-chief. Whoever. We know the so-called commander-in-chief, in many cases doesn't know what day it is, and definitely when it comes to the debacle that took place in Afghanistan right now, I think the proof there's proof positive here that he's lost, and Americans our Americans have to suffer. And this week now, not only the debacle of the country being overrun, the capital, in a matter of like, you snap your fingers and here's the Taliban, they've taken over, but now we've lost troops due to this so-called president's leadership. And what we've been seeing over the January, when he accepted the presidency and stood in place as our president, we've seen one disaster, one failure after another. And right now, there's a lot of congressmen, senators that are calling for impeachment of what actually took place and the total of failure, the total incompetence that's on display around the world. And as I had mentioned to you last week, Vladimir Putin knows weakness. Xi Jinping knows weakness. Kim Jong-un knows weakness. The Taliban, as I said last week, they've seen it firsthand, and they're gone, United States. Biden, we no longer need you. We got this. We got this country. We're taking it over. Get out. And that's the attitude that though our enemies around the world have seen the incompetence, the failures from this president, and now they're getting emboldened. And I haven't even mentioned one of the recipients from Obama's giveaway program, Iran. And who knows what's going to happen next. Maybe the Taliban's going to get a big crate full, plane swoops in with billions of dollars of cash for the Taliban. Just settle down for 4, 5, 6 months, and here's your cash. We know Biden knows how to play the payoff games here, and maybe that's what he'll do with the Taliban. Who knows what with this weak leader, what he will do. But we do know one thing. Around the globe, the United States is being seen as weak. And the leadership in the United States right now is being seen as weak. And it's a sad state right now, and it's a dangerous state of affairs for our Americans that are there in Afghanistan right now, that are looking to get out, that are trapped right now. And we want to keep our prayers for them and this situation, that it will that somebody will step forward with some leadership and to say, to lay some groundwork here. Kind of late now, but we need leadership, and we're not seeing it right now. We will, and we are seeing, and we have been seeing, and it's been hinted. There may be appeasement coming that direction into Afghanistan, knowing the Biden playbook. But there'll be more to this. This is going to be unfolding here, I would say, for weeks and months of what's going to be taking place to get all our people out of Afghanistan. I'd like to talk again about a bit about a state governor who I have had good praises for. But I would say over the last year, better step back and take another look here. And she was really looked to be a rising star, and seemed to be moving forward for putting her people first as a governor. And I'm talking about Kristi Noem there, South Dakota. And now she's flopped on a few things here, like the transgender in the athletics, and basically stating that she was going to put some legislation to stop boys running in girls' events and taking those spots away from the girls, and she stepped away from that. Had some excuse about, well, the legislation really just it needed to be reworked, and now we have Kristi Noem now is supporting the mask mandates, and she wants to force that on her people. So very disappointing, but it's a good lesson for us, because we have had governors that have been doing some good things. But we have to hold our leaders accountable. And I'm talking about governors that have been doing, been in the news here over the last few months. They've been pretty strong. Greg Abbott, one. There are some issues right now where, there was some falling down on the job there. But for the most part, and I know we have to kind of nuance that. We can't expect, them to do everything my way. But when you start to see key things that are ignored, or liberties that are just they look the other way, you have to call them out on it. I'm not saying that. I'm not giving any specifics with Governor Abbott there in Texas, but there have been some areas where of some concern. But even talking about Greg Abbott, we'll talk about Ron DeSantis too. I mean, if he goes the way of the Democrats, then we need to call them out too. Sometimes it just takes the people to push back aggressively against the ones that are representing us, and maybe wake them up a bit, get them back on track. Because a lot of times these governors, they're getting pressure from the left to move left. And we need to be very vocal when they go off the track. We need to snap them back on the track, or primary them, get somebody else in there that will move the ball forward for conservative principles and liberty and freedom for the people. So Kristi Noem, very disappointing right now, and I'm hoping that the people of South Dakota will put some pressure there and highlight the fact that she sounds like a corporate titan right now, because she's certainly kowtowing to big business now when it comes to these mask mandates, and I think she's forgotten about who she's representing there in her state, and I'm hoping that she changes course. I've got another video that I want to share tonight. It's one of the people that we've watched before. The journalist and reporter Tucker Carlson will be interviewing Lara Logan, and she has been in the front line. She's been over there in the Middle East and Afghanistan, and she comes with a knowledge of that area and what's been going on. So she's going to share a summary of what has been taking place in the debacle that we just saw, and what we need to be aware of in these coming weeks and months, and where the Taliban wants to take the country. So here we have Tucker Carlson interviewing Lara Logan. Here, take a look.